guests, and for the purpose of just keeping everything sorted out for our guests so they understand what's going on. The purpose of evaluation is, I'll read you what it actually says in the National Association. It says to advise the speaker what went well with the speech and to point out some learning points to help the speaker improve in the next speech. So evaluation is not a critique of the content of the speech particularly. It's an evaluation of how the speech was delivered, and the most important point of it is to help the speaker move on to the next assignment. So we have the National Association's guide, which has all of these assignments in. The one we're dealing with now is the second one at the higher level, which is storytelling and narrative. So the guidance says, I'll just quickly give you the gist of it, that the purpose of the speech is to allow you to be creative and imaginative by sharing experiences through words, sounds, and visual images. So the advice is be creative. You can share experiences by words, by sounds, by gestures, creating visual experiences for the listener, and, as they say, creating the extraordinary out of the ordinary. So it can either be, the storytelling can either be life experience, or it can be fiction, and the important points are that there must be the same elements in the speech as in the way we develop the first set of speeches, the first 5 speeches you do, which means there must be a good introduction, clear construction to the speech, use of word pictures and gestures, and it should be delivered with energy and enthusiasm. So those are the strictures against which I'm instructed to evaluate the speech. Perhaps the most important one of all really is to the idea of capturing the attention of the audience and interesting the audience in what you're saying. That's the whole purpose of narrative. So, Robert. Choice of subject. Can't argue with the choice of subject. First rate, I thought. Quite teasing, really, Robert. What's all this going to be about? As far as I was concerned, the speaker, because we refer to the person who's given the speech in the third person, it's just one of the ways the association does this to avoid, in some clubs, things can get very tense over people evaluating because they sink into criticism rather than evaluation, so we do this. So the speaker, who shall remain nameless, made a good choice of subject. Her approach to the lectern was very confident. Actually, she stood back a little from the lectern and waved her hands as though to gather people into the speech. And I thought the opening grabbed our attention, which is what it needs to do. So, in terms of the delivery of the speech, there's always a temptation in evaluation, I have to say, to repeat what the speaker said, give the gist of what the speaker said in the speech. That's not the purpose of evaluation. The purpose of evaluation is to say, how was the speech delivered? So I thought, first of all, stance. The speaker's stance at the lectern was very confident and relaxed, and that is a very good thing to have in any sort of speech like this. I didn't detect any particular mannerisms or habits other than the ones we all have. We all tend to get a bit of arm waving in our speeches, and this speaker is a bit of an arm waver, but that's okay. Probably the only 2 things not to do in a speech that will affect the audience is either grab the lectern as though you're drowning and you're going down for the 3rd time, which the speaker did not do, or stand back and, well, sort of indicate this movement, which is, God, get me out of here. I've run out of ideas. So don't do that. Those are the 2 things not to do. Other than that, as far as I'm concerned, a bit of arm waving doesn't matter because it's all part of the energy of the speech. No use of notes that I could detect, and that brings me on to the fact that there was very good eye contact from the speaker throughout. I mean, everybody felt engaged. I watched her eye contact around the audience. The voice was strong and clear and had a lot of pace and pause to it. So I thought that was well done. The speech construction was linear, as you might expect from the narrative speech, but well delivered with all sorts of clever little nuances to it as it went through. I thought telling a story of 5 generations of a family could be exceptionally boring, so the speaker kept the whole situation alive by by constantly this Robert, another Robert, another Robert, oh, another Robert. It was really good. At one point she did fall off the pedestal a little by saying, "I'm sorry, I forgot a word that I meant to say there." That doesn't matter. Just be careful not to say that. Halfway through the speech, don't apologise if you've forgotten something. Just stare back at the audience and smile and keep going. They'll never know the difference. So the speech was well delivered. I thought there was some good humour in the speech. I mean, it's just buried in the speech, and that's an important thing with humour. It's not about telling jokes. It's about being lively, it's about being interesting, and suddenly the audience finds that something's being said that they didn't expect, and that's what humour is. Good use of vocabulary, lots of interesting words there. I thought the descriptions of the postcards and the Robert who went to war particularly engaging. Gestures, some good gestures, some embracing gestures. Perhaps could have been a few more different gestures I'll come to at the end. So, all in all, I thought it was a well-constructed speech. It was interesting, it fulfilled everything that the guidance says it should have, and I'm glad to say that the speaker has achieved that assignment and moved on. And I just want to say to the guests that when we do assignments, it's not a question of passing or failing, it's a question of whether you've understood what you were supposed to be doing in this speech, and you got it, you did it. Otherwise, there's no point being nice to people and saying, yes, you better move on to the next speech, if they haven't really grasped the point of the speech. So, learning point, I think I only have one, and that is perhaps that there could have been some more gestures to emphasize certain points, and a little less arm waving. I thought the introduction of the material was absolutely excellent. Yeah, you know, that is something that we don't often do in speeches, but it's perfectly adequate. And when it's done properly, that drives home the message that says these were real people. You know, this is real. This is my family. So well done, speaker. I shall not name you. Carry on to your next assignment, Susan. And well done. Well done.